You just might remember days ago when we said that it looked like a Darth Vader strategy was emerging from Lucasfilm in the wake of the destroyed Mandalorian and Grogu box office projections. And guess what? We were not just projecting without data, without info, because here we go again. It turns out Hayden Christensen, now being signed to multiple projects with Lucasfilm and making his appearance on stage at a Star Wars celebration, coming to you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel that continues to get it again and again and again, bringing you the headlines of tomorrow, today, and sometimes even before then. Well, today we're talking about Hayden Christensen and Lucasfilm's final Hail Mary attempt to save Star Wars after the collapse of Mando. We'll go there. You click the like button, and let's launch right now. Star Wars is getting ready to go to the dark side as their box office darkens badly for them. Folks, take a look at this. We are no longer in rumor territory. Fiction Horizon is confirming a lot of the stuff we've been hearing and sending your way. I have no way of getting this name right. We do apologize to our author here, but just in respect, we'll give up and say you win. Anakin Skywalker is far from finished. Hayden Christensen reportedly set for 2 more Star Wars projects. Here's the story. It says few Hollywood redemption arcs have resonated quite as deeply with fans as Hayden Christensen reclaiming his place in the Star Wars universe. After a decade-long absence following the prequel trilogy, the actor returned to a franchise that had in many ways grown to appreciate what he had brought to Anakin all along, even if not the sand. Christensen famously played the future Darth Vader in Star Wars Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, before making his long-awaited return to the universe in Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then again in the first season of Ahsoka, appearing in digitally de-aged form across 2 episodes. We expect to see more of that. Both performances sparked renewed admiration from fans who had spent years hoping to see him back in the role. His return was made official at Star Wars Celebration, where a panel featuring Christensen, alongside Rosario Dawson, Dave Filoni, and Jon Favreau, confirmed he would reprise the role in Ahsoka Season 2. Now, according to a fresh round of insider reports, Christensen's run in the franchise may extend well beyond the upcoming 2nd season. Industry insider Daniel Richtman is reporting that Christensen is set for at least 2 more Star Wars projects as Anakin, with the specific nature of these projects remaining unclear. All right, so there you go, folks. We've been talking about this. It's now out there, and I think it's time to reveal this next one. We've been paying attention to this, but I think this went under the radar, and now with this new info, it's time to clarify what this might mean. If we go to who is confirmed for Star Wars Celebration Los Angeles 2027, which would be the first big time Dave Filoni tries to reset all of this, if he's going to do so. Maybe Disney's going to try to start resetting things. It's in LA. Who is going to be there? Well, your headliner is Hayden Christensen. Yes, Anthony Daniels will be there. And yes, there are others. We'll have Ian McDermott, but Hayden Christensen, signed for more projects, is the headliner for Star Wars Celebration LA 2027. And I'm starting to wonder, is Darth Vader the way that they go at Lucasfilm to try to save this thing? And I'm going to tell you, I don't think it's a bad play at this point, because I don't think they have any other plays left. I don't know that they can deliver. I don't believe they can deliver. However, they've got 2 options here. They can either lean big time into Darth Vader and all of his evilness and have Hayden do that, or we can go into World Between Worlds and reset everything and fix this thing with Anakin and Darth Vader being the chosen one who finally becomes the full prophecy-fulfilling chosen one who convinces Ahsoka to go back and fix it. I'm going to go in a specific order for a reason here. Wiz, I want to go to you first, because I want to hear your thoughts on just where Star Wars is, and is this actually the last play they have? Is this the final Hail Mary from across the field, down by 7? And then we'll go to Lauren after that, and we'll get the rest of the panel. But Lauren knows so much about the lore of this and how they would do it. Let's go in that order. Fake Wiz, what do you got?
Well, we knew that Hayden Christensen was going to be back to some capacity anyway, because we have Ahsoka Season 2 on the horizon. We know that Anakin is a Force ghost in that show. So, we knew he was coming back for at least one thing. The fact that they're saying that there is now 2 things, it's the second one that I'm most interested in. And I think it contributes to your point, Pro, is that there has to be something there. Look, people love Anakin Skywalker. They like Darth Vader. And people really like Hayden Christensen, right? But I don't like Disney writers, and I don't think anybody else likes Disney writers. And Dave Filoni ain't got it. and everybody else that they could bring in. Nobody really has this. The people that might have had it, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, got fired. So who do you have left other than, the lackeys that are either going to, do whatever Filoni wants or whatever the Disney corporate bosses want, and they don't know what they want. They don't know how to tell a good Star Wars story. So if you bring him back and you watch Hayden Christensen as Anakin because you tell a bad story, then people aren't going to want to watch that anymore either. So you have to be very delicate with this. The one thing you could say, because that Ahsoka season 1 was garbage. It was aggressively terrible. And yet, what are the best moments of the show that actually supersede the actual show itself is all of the scenes with Hayden Christensen. You don't want to rewatch that show. You just want to rewatch the scenes that had Anakin Skywalker back because he is right back at it. So whatever it is, I'm skeptical. I'm glad to see he's getting work. I wish he was in more stuff. I would love to go and see him in movies on the big screen. I wish it wasn't that he was I don't want to use the word trapped, but I wish his career took him to other places where it wasn't just Star Wars forever. The story of Anakin Skywalker is done. Anything, and I know Lauren is going to talk about it, but anything that has to do with the Mortis characters, the father, the daughter, the son, normies are not interested. I'm a Star Wars guy, and I can't stand that storyline, and I know it came from George. I personally don't care for it, unless we're going into Abeloth territory, which is a super Legends deep cut, and Disney doesn't have the cojones to tell that story correctly. So I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence.
I think it's the only play they've got. Lauren, he may be the only part of Star Wars that's not damaged goods at this point. What do you think about this? And does it get us closer to the rumor that we've been reporting since the 3rd?
I just want to point out that Fake Wizard made the incorrect argument here. He is correct that they don't have the cojones to tell that story correctly. But I believe they do have the cojones to tell that story incorrectly. And I think that he would probably agree with me.
I do, yeah.
I think if they want to do something with Vader, that is a massive mistake. And I have explained that many times before. Everybody thinks you want a Vader movie. Believe me, you do not want that. Vader is best when he is used sparingly. And if you want an example that gives you something that can prove that point, I'm probably going to take some flack for this. Look at the Maul Shadow Lord story that they just did. In my opinion, that was not a good show. I know a lot of people liked it, but I honestly thought there were 2 good episodes. And other than that, it was worthless and didn't move anything forward. I do think that Anakin is likely to be used in the World Between Worlds. I think that they have to keep him in the spirit realm. And I think the goodwill of Anakin in the show, as I agree with Fake Wizard, that was the one great thing about Ahsoka, does buy them some goodwill. But it's another problem that you have with Vader. It's like you've got to use it sparingly, and you have to have it actually mean something. If you're just having him come back so that you could go, hey, is that Hayden? Is he playing Anakin? That's not going to help you. You gotta use it sparingly, and it has to mean something.
Andy, I think we're down to this being it. Like they've burned every other character. I guess you could go back to Luke after he drops off Grogu, but that takes us back to the sequels. Like I think you gotta revamp this thing. You've got to retcon it, and you got to do it with Hayden, and that's all they have. There's nothing else to get excited about.
I don't know that they've got the talent to make it work anyway. They could put anything they wanted in there. Number one, yeah, the normies are with everybody else. Nobody likes the sequel trilogy. There's 10 people out there that like it, but they don't buy anything anyway. The way you would have to do something, I think, in good faith that would, like as Lauren has discussed, separating that whole sequel trilogy thing, and then let it sit. Like, just let people get used to the idea that didn't kind of happen, and things are kind of going off in a different direction. And then, you know what? Go into a different era. Go to something that's other than this. Let the wound heal. Let people, like, I think the Starfighter show might actually be a pretty good attempt at something, because it's something we haven't seen yet. Everyone's tired of The Mandalorian. It's the same story over and over again. The Man with No Name. You had a chance to do one thing, send Grogu off with Luke, let him be a bounty hunter, but they couldn't do that because they were so afraid. And that's really the thing that Lucasfilm is, and Disney, as a matter of fact. they're afraid. They're afraid to take a chance, and they're afraid to mess up, and they're afraid to do anything that's going to could excite fans. George Lucas took chances. And he made the movies that he wanted to make. Yeah, there's complaints about things like and his dialogue and stuff, but by and large, he made the movies he wanted to make. These people have no idea. They're running around. It's really summed up, oddly enough, by young Anakin in The Phantom Menace. Let's try spinning. That's a good trick. That's where they're at right now.
Now
that's a nice reference. Marv, Phil, you guys, whatever you want to add to this, I'm curious if you think this would work if they executed well, or are we even past that point now?
So, look, the one thing that up until now I thought that they had always done well at Disney was Vader. Whenever Vader appeared, he was always treated with reverence. He was never made to look weak. He always, he always pretty much looked strong. They had him wipe the floor with Reva.
Because they like villains, Marv. They actually like villains.
No, they don't.
Sorry, Marv.
They will not let villains be villains.
Okay, so, but now here's the thing. They don't want to do Vader anymore, very clearly, because to do it correctly, you have to AI James Earl Jones's voice over Hayden. And they showed us in Maul, they're not willing to do that right now. I don't know if it's the cost associated, wasn't enough for an animated show, or if they just thought they were going to get a lot of backlash from it from the anti-AI crowd. But Dave Filoni all of a sudden started saying like, well, we wanted to treat it with reverence because, that's George's character. And I'm like, dude, you've used Vader a dozen times in the Disney canon. He goes, well, that's Vader though. He doesn't talk to you. He just comes at you. I'm like, my dude, he talked to Cal Kestis when he fought him. That dude was a buddy patroller. He didn't talk in the hallway scene in Rogue One. Cool, great. That was a phenomenal scene. Vader does talk though. They're afraid to use him right now. And it's very, very obvious. And so I think you will get Anakin, and I think you will get Anakin in the world between worlds kind of situation, but I don't think you will get Vader.
Vader's a diva.
Yeah, Vader likes to talk. Vader talks all the time.
Well, James Earl Jones is gonna get his money's worth, right? His family, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, this feels like a Marvel thing. You know how Marvel's been down the drain, down the gutter for a while now, and they're like, okay, we need something to bring back the fans. So let's go ahead and bring back the Russos. Let's go and bring back RDJ, and we're gonna make our money back. And I do have a friend who is like a big Star Wars fan. He's like, all Lucas needs is like, well, at least like current Lucas is one good, very, very good movie to bring back everyone. And I think this is their only hope, I guess, pun intended, right? So I don't know. I want them to succeed, but at this time, like I and a lot of other people have sort of don't care about Star Wars anymore. Mm. So we'll see what they do though. I think using Vader, it just feels like a last ditch effort, Hail Mary kind of situation here, but let's see what happens.
I thought, Phil, that apathy had set in, and I've changed my mind. I think with Mandalorian Grogu, it is obvious to me, at least on this channel, it's what everybody wants us to talk about. It is all people want me to talk about right now. And people can say, well, you're doing too many Star Wars videos. It's Star Wars every day. Trust me, I look at the stats. I see where people are coming from. This is the only thing people want to talk about, and I accept it, right? We're doing every other day, we're doing one story that's not Star Wars. And the reason for that is I don't think people are apathetic. I think they're very, very angry. Mm-hmm. And while that may be a difficult place for Disney to be in, it also means that there is a chance if they were willing to do the very hard thing, if they're willing to remove the cancer that has destroyed this, the Kathleen Kennedy, Rian Johnson subversion of expectations, you rip that out of this thing and there's a chance. I'll tell you this. We've been running a poll, and at the time of recording, we're at 1,750 people, and we've had almost 400 vote in this poll. Can Star Wars return so long as the sequel trilogy exists? 89% say no. There you go, Disney. Lauren Wiz, final thoughts.
We're in the revenge phase now.
Revenge of the fandom.
Which is something I have not been able... I was looking into this. It's something I cannot find in economics, in any franchise, in any medium where the fans are like, Star Wars used to be the cultural event. And now the cultural event is celebrating watching Star Wars burn.
Let me introduce you to Bud Light.
Well, that's okay.
That was a temporary thing. That was, but Bud Light had the ability to course correct. And I think the difference here is Bud Light, they changed quick enough. Star Wars, this is over 10 years now that we've been dealing with this. I think people want to see Disney in pain. And
isn't it amazing?
They care.
Isn't it amazing that BP filled the Gulf of America with oil, polluted the whole thing, killed probably trillions of animals, like mucked up the whole thing, and people forgave BP quicker than they've forgiven Star Wars and Disney. It really says something when you're worse than BP.
I'd like to add one thing to what Wiz said. It's not just a year thing. It's a generation thing. They've damaged a generation of fans.
Yeah,
I would argue 2 generations of fans. But besides that, it's like, again, they've been at this for 14 years. We have told them repeatedly, over and over, we don't like this. We're telling you what we want. We're telling you what we don't want. And they continued to mock us and tell us we were a vocal minority and that really it was a cultural event and everybody just loved it. And we're pointing at the numbers and telling them, you're obviously lying. And they still say, well, you're interpreting the numbers wrong. That's what they're doing right now. They've killed it. And it's like they have no excuse other than that we wanted to own you. It's like, guys, we've been trying to help you as the customers for 14 years to tell you what we want in a product. And for some reason, you thought your job was to lecture us and tell us what we would accept. You thought somehow that you would be able to bulldoze over us and that the next generation would just blindly accept whatever slop you ladled into their mouth. And that has been proven false. You will die because you failed at generational capture. There's no way to get that back.
this is the economic maturity of if you went to McDonald's and they just loaded your burger with pickles and you said, I don't want pickles. And they said, it doesn't matter. You love McDonald's so much, you'll eat it no matter what. Eat it, chud. It's like, yeah, it turns out people didn't have to eat the pickles, eh? Sorry, Star Wars, but you got a hard decision to make. Looks like Darth Vader is the only way they've figured out thus far they can save themselves. Well, folks, we've come to the end of another video of pure excellence and fun. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. That's what we hope you believe we've just done. And why should you believe it? Well, because we've done our very best to make it so. To be true, to be factual, and to do what the mainstream so-called access journalists simply won't. Folks, you can help share this out across the fruited plains of YouTube by clicking the like button. Share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we get ready to say sayonara for now, we ask that you keep learning, keep growing, and wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep having fun.